My adopted son's bio parents want him back.
4 years ago, I adopted an 8-year-old boy named Daniel. He had been given up for adoption under unclear circumstances, but from the moment I met him, I saw nothing wrong with him. He was a bright, kind-hearted child, though his nervous demeanor hinted at a difficult past. I could only imagine the neglect and abuse he might have endured at the hands of his biological parents. Over time, Daniel began to trust me, slowly shedding the walls he'd built around himself. He came to see me as his father, and I embraced him fully as my son. My parents welcomed him with open arms, drawing on their own family history of adoption. It wasn't always easy. I was a single man juggling work and parenthood, but I was fortunate to have a stable job, a steady income, and a financial cushion for emergencies. We created a peaceful, happy life together. That peace was shattered one day by an incident I could never have anticipated. While Daniel was at school and I was at work, I received a notification from my doorbell camera. Four strangers were standing at my doorstep, knocking and ringing the bell with an unsettling urgency. I excused myself from work and told my understanding boss about the situation. Through the doorbell app, I asked who they were and why they were at my home. The group consisted of 2 men and 2 women. One pair, a man and a woman, appeared to be in their 30s or 40s, the right age to be Daniel's biological parents. The other pair were older, likely his maternal grandparents. What they said next left me stunned. They introduced themselves as Daniel's biological family. I was shocked. Not only had they found our address, but I had never met them, even during the adoption process. Daniel had been in foster care for a year before he came into my life, and there had been no contact from his biological family during that time. They explained their visit with a story that initially stirred a flicker of sympathy. Their other son, Daniel's older brother, had passed away in a car accident last month, and now they wanted Daniel back. Until that moment, I hadn't even known Daniel had a sibling. Though I felt a twinge of sadness for the loss of their son, their explanation quickly took a turn that enraged me. They admitted they had given Daniel up because they couldn't handle raising 2 children. They said his older brother required more care, and they felt overwhelmed. Hearing this, my mind flashed back to the information I'd been given by Daniel's social worker. He had likely suffered neglect and some level of abuse in their household. They had abandoned him when he needed them most, and now, after all these years, they wanted him back? I'll update if there are any developments, but for now, I'm preparing for whatever challenges may come. Daniel is my son, and I will fight for him with everything I have. It's been a while since my last update, but recent events have shaken our lives. I discovered that Daniel's older brother, Vincent, is still alive. Tragically, he's battling leukemia and requires a bone marrow transplant. The real reason Daniel's biological family reached out was to test if Daniel could be a match. Their intent? To use this as a way to regain custody of Daniel. It's a bizarre and deeply unsettling situation. I took immediate action to ensure Daniel's safety. I informed his school, filed a police report, contacted Child Protective Services, CPS, and had my lawyer send Daniel's biological family a cease and desist letter. The authorities are investigating how they managed to locate our address. 2 days ago, a woman claiming to be Daniel's paternal grandmother, Kathy, arrived at my doorstep. Her expression was a mixture of fear and concern, which made me cautious. However, what she revealed left me stunned. Vincent had never died. There was no car crash. It had all been a lie. After inviting her inside, Kathy explained the truth about Daniel's biological family. Vincent had always been the golden child, receiving love, care, and everything he desired. Daniel, on the other hand, was neglected, abused, and blamed for Vincent's wrongdoings. Eventually, Daniel's parents gave him up for adoption. While his maternal grandparents supported the decision, Kathy and her husband, Daniel's paternal grandparents, were horrified and furious. They had been estranged from Daniel's biological parents long before Vincent was born and hadn't even known Daniel existed until years later. Now, desperate to save Vincent, Daniel's biological parents hoped to use him as a donor. They asked Kathy to pressure me into agreeing on Daniel's behalf. But Kathy refused to comply and came to warn me instead. Her honesty was refreshing in this sea of betrayal. She expressed her regret for not being part of Daniel's life sooner and warned me to be cautious of anyone approaching us under the guise of helping. Before leaving in her white sedan, she gave me her contact information, saying she and her husband would be open to meeting Daniel if he wished. As for Daniel's biological parents, I am deeply disappointed. Any faint hope that they might genuinely want to reconcile with Daniel has vanished. Their intentions are purely selfish, and I will not let them come anywhere near him. When I told Daniel the full truth, his reaction was firm. He wanted nothing to do with them. He shared painful memories of how Vincent had mistreated him and expressed no desire to help someone who had caused him so much harm. I assured him that I would never pressure him into donating, especially given the health risks involved. Daniel doesn't deserve more suffering, especially not for people who have shown him no love or gratitude. On the other hand, Daniel is curious about his paternal grandparents. He wants to meet them, and they are eager to meet him as well. We've planned to get together during Thanksgiving break at my parents' house. My parents are also excited to meet Kathy and her husband, and I believe this gathering will be a positive step in helping Daniel connect with a kinder part of his biological family. Given the likelihood of further attempts from Daniel's biological parents, I've decided to have Daniel stay with my parents for the time being. Their home is conveniently located right across from his school, making it easier to ensure his safety. They're fully aware of the situation and have promised to protect him no matter what. It's a relief to know he'll be in a secure and loving environment. For now, we're focusing on keeping Daniel safe and helping him navigate these complicated emotions. I'll update again if anything significant happens, but for now, we're taking things one step at a time. It's better to be cautious and prepared than regretful later.